If anyone needs to be seated, I see a few empty chairs. If you need to come forward and be seated. The Jewish people respond to death with 3 words of blessing. In English, the words mean, praised is the judge of truth. In the wisdom of our tradition, please repeat the words of blessing after me. Baruch, Dayan, Ha'emet. Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. Adonai has given and Adonai has taken. Praised be the name of Adonai. As a drop of water in the sea, as a grain of sand on the shore, are our few days in eternity. The good things in life last for but a short time. Our days are too few in number. A human being is like a Sefer Torah. Studied, it has wisdom to impart. Lived, it has goodness to convey. Each of us is a letter in the Torah scroll. Together, our lives are intertwined. Our common fate and faith, our common destiny, like the stitches of the parchment. When any one of us is lost, the holy text is torn. In memory, we are mended. I lift my eyes up to the mountain from whence comes my help. My help comes from Adonai, the maker of heaven and earth. Esanai el harim, me'ayin yavo Ezri, me'im Adonai, Ose shamayim ve'aretz. Ine ayanu v'lo yishan Shomei Yisrael. Ine ayanun v'lo yishan Shomei Yisrael. When I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking the street beside you. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your simchas, your joys, and multiplying your mitzvot, your good deeds. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes and not on your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember that love doesn't die, people do. So when all that is left of me is love, give me away. Those of you who have brochures, please join me, or if you know this by heart, Psalm 23. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. You cradle me in green pastures. You lead me beside tranquil waters. You restore my soul. You guide me in the paths of righteousness for the sake of your name. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anointed my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of God forever. All things pass. All that lives must die. All that we prize is but lent to us, and the time comes when we must surrender it. We are travelers on the same road that leads to the same end. Death strikes the great and the lowly, the rich and the poor, the young and the old. It respects neither wisdom nor possession. Death levels all rank and removes all distinction. In the presence of sorrow, we learn to express gratitude for every blessing bestowed upon us day by day. May we willingly share these blessings with others. This day we remember Josh through praise of his life. I will ask that the following people who want to share their words come up in this order: Jen, then Jordan, Joel, David, and Captain O'Brien. Jen.
It's a little bit weird for me to be standing on something that makes me even taller. Thank you all for being here today with us. Today, I want to talk about community bonds and service to others because they were meaningful to Josh. It's why he was drawn to serve in the National Guard and to work in EMS. The shirt I'm wearing today is from the very first Go Ruck event that we did in 2018. A little background is that Go Ruck is a veteran-owned company that organizes military-themed teamwork endurance events, and weird people like us spend like 12 hours overnight, usually 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. walking around with a really heavy backpack and picking up other heavy things that you find along the way, heavy things that your cadre decide to torture you with. And it's weird but fun. But when you're doing it, you also learn a lot about the military. You do some example PT training and things like that. So for this first one, I went with Josh because he was only 17 and needed a parent to either shadow or participate. And I asked him, which would you prefer that I do? And he chose to let me participate. So we became hooked on these events that were never the same. They were always challenging, and they led us to become part of this weird group who can identify each other by their backpacks. These events were hard, and they often made me think that I had no business being out there as a middle-aged mom doing these crazy things at all hours of the night with a bunch of mostly young men. But for Josh, it was like he had found his natural habitat. He was often chosen as the team leader at these events because he was always the youngest by at least 10 years. And to say that he shined in this role as team lead is an understatement. Doing these crazy events with him is where it really sank in for me, that he had a calling to serve in the military that was more than just a young man's whim. It was his nature, and it was often where he was at his best. Before Josh left for basic training, his dad told him that he was going to be creating lifelong bonds and become part of an eternal brotherhood with people in his training class at basic, at AIT, and then in his guard unit. I think at the time, Josh thought it was an exaggeration, and I'm pretty sure he rolled his eyes. But he had experiences that showed him that this was true. Like the time about a year after he had returned from training, he was here in town and he ran into somebody from his training class at Fort Jackson. He'd been home about a year and they'd been separated, obviously. And he said it was like they had never been apart, even after a year. And they fell right back into their old jokes. The number of people here today representing the National Guard speaks volumes about what Josh's service meant to him. Josh was uncomfortable when saying so, when he was thanked for his service, but he was proud to serve. The bonds and the brotherhood are here forever, and he loved serving. To him, it wasn't a duty, but an honor. Community and brotherhood are also why Josh loved EMS work. When we weren't doing Go Ruck, another favorite event of his is the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb at Red Rocks. He loved that event partly because of the physical challenge, which was actually not even a challenge for him with our heavy backpacks, but more so because of the community of first responders there with EMS and firefighters from all over Colorado. He always saw people he knew at the stair climb. This year, when we did it, we took our traditional photo at the top of Red Rocks, turned around, and there he was face to face with a guy from his first grade class. He recognized Josh immediately, even though about 15 years have passed. This man was a firefighter in Palmer Lake and a few days out from taking his EMT exam. Josh, of course, gave him some pointers and said to him exactly what Joel had said to Josh about becoming part of a brotherhood with unbreakable bonds and eternal relationships. Josh said to Rourke, "Welcome to the brotherhood," when we left. Recently, Josh had mentioned something that he loved about his work was that when things were getting really intense, he had partners and coworkers where they didn't even have to speak to communicate about who needed to do what and what needed to happen. They could exchange a glance and just know what the other was thinking. He said, "Mom, I love that we know each other so well. We could roll up on anything or have anything roll in and not have to say a word. We can just look at each other and get it done." He loved that level of connection. He loved these things that encouraged community and then allowed him to show us all his large, caring, and selfless heart. He loved the Guard and he loved his work. My family and I now see exactly why Josh was drawn to these communities. In these last few days, we have been loved, supported, and uplifted by our friends and families, by the families at Stadium, at Lutheran, and the National Guard, who have all taken us in and forever made us one of their own because of how much they loved Josh. We have been touched by love from absolute strangers through their connection to him. For that, the phrase "thank you" isn't nearly enough to show our gratitude, but thank you. We see why Josh was called to your communities and why he was an integral part of them. To know that he was so highly regarded and well-loved across so many areas of his life speaks volumes of Josh and the man he was. Please remember Josh for his high level of compassion, his limitless knowledge as both a civilian and military EMT, his sense of humor, and his mustache that he was so proud of. Say his name as often as you can and carry him forever in your heart. His life was short, but his legacy will be long. When he left for basic training, Josh told me, "I'll miss the piss out of you, Mom," knowing it would make me laugh. And it did. Josh, I hope that you have heard me today. Know that you are loved and always will be. And I will miss the piss out of you.
When I think of Josh, the duality of his character is what comes to mind for me. In his short time on this earth, Josh had earned enough certificates, plaques, and achievements to fully decorate the walls of a room. A combat medic with an EMT certification, a wilderness EMT certification, a certified lifeguard and scuba diver who dabbled in search and rescue and mountain recovery, Josh's drive is what always impressed me the most about him. Even from a young age, Josh was never one to sit still, always moving forward. I knew Josh to throw himself headfirst at life's obstacles. He pursued his passions to the fullest, always committing himself to self-improvement. His drive and his ambition rubbed off on everyone around him. No matter what he pursued, he pushed his limits to excel. But the other side of Josh is the side that will always hold a place in my memory. Josh was someone that can make you laugh without saying anything. A story that I think encapsulates Josh's contagious sense of humor was when 2 years ago, for my 18th birthday, while Josh was in San Antonio completing advanced individual training for the National Guard, he found the time to buy me a birthday gift. He walked into a Best Buy near his base, asked an employee for the most obsolete piece of technology they had, and gave it to me on the day of my birthday, along with a Hallmark card congratulating me for 30 successful years of marriage. Josh was someone that made the time fly by. Driving, shopping, or eating out with him became some of my most coveted memories of my summers at home. Josh is someone that truly had a positive impact on everyone he encountered. His easygoing manner, coupled with his empathy and care for those around him, made him someone people loved to be around. Josh will be forever missed and always hold a place in my heart and in my memory.
Hey, everybody. I, of course, want to thank everyone for coming. Forgive me for not mentioning everyone, because I know I'm going to forget someone. How to give a eulogy for your child. A parent isn't supposed to write one for their child, but here we are. My son was a beautiful young man. He loved the Army National Guard. He was a combat medic, 68 Whiskey. I'm former Navy, and the ribbing that we would give each other was legendary. Anyone who's ever served understands that when you meet someone either active or retired, the first question you ask them is, what branch were they in? The second thing you do is give them a load of crap if it was a different branch other than your own. That was Josh. My son was an EMT at both Stadium Medical and Lutheran Medical Center. I'd like to draw your attention to the shadow box that Stadium Medical made for my son. And then Lutheran Medical called us and let us know they flew this flag at half-mast, which is something they've never done without governor orders or president orders. You guys don't understand how much that means to us. On two separate occasions that we know of, people confidentially told us of the time that Josh saved someone's life. To him, it was nothing, just another day. He was too modest to share. He was a people pleaser. He loved the outdoors. He loved helping others. I was thinking of Josh's influence in his short 21 years. You can see it right here just by the number of groups represented in this audience. We've all been at the lake and thrown a rock in. The ripples, the concentric circles. Those circles are my boy's influence, if you think about that. Those circles are my son's memory. They represent the many people whose lives he touched. The many groups of parents and people here today and streaming, all have been influenced by my son. Many of you asked how you can help. There actually is a way. Life is meant for the living. If you see any of us, please don't become serious or quiet. It's not what Josh would have wanted. Tell us a joke, preferably dirty. Keep talking when we walk up to you guys. It is hard to know what to say. There's without question, but don't go quiet. While our hearts are shattered, the rest of us are not. It doesn't need to always be a somber occasion. It's what Josh would have wanted. Thank you guys so much for coming. I love you all.
I'm Josh's uncle, David. For my brother and I in our generation, Josh was the first child born. So I got to watch him grow up from diapers and crawling to becoming an extraordinary young man, having push-up contests with me and my wife. And you know, the thing about Josh is he became such an admirable young man. And at an age when so many young people are interested in rebellion and you know, going against the grain, Josh was a kid who was always serving others. And you know, he would come out and visit us in California, and we would ask him stories about what he was doing in the military and the hospitals and EMT, and he would tell us these stories, and we loved hearing this. And for my children, it was very influential also to hear those kind of stories and see that kind of service. And the fact is that if everybody in the world were like Josh in that way, it would just be a very different kind of world if everyone were so devoted to serving one another. It's sometimes said that love doesn't know its own depth until the hour of separation. And I think that's true for everybody here, that we come to suddenly think about all the ways that somebody crosses our mind and pops into our thoughts all the time in ways that we didn't even recognize. I recognize this is a totally stupid one, but just the other day I was driving and I noticed my gas tank was at half. And Josh always said he never let his gas tank go below half. He would always fill up the car at that point. And I thought, oh, that's just another moment when Josh is constantly with me. And so the fact is that when somebody passes, they now live in all of the heads of all the people that ever knew him. And so it's very heartening to our family to see so many people here. It's wonderful to know that he's going to live in all of these heads. You guys are the concentric circles that Joel talked about. And like, I don't know if I believe in an afterlife, and if there is something like that, it might be way beyond our comprehension anyway. But I would like to imagine that Josh is there with our father, Art, who would be taking care of him now, and they would be laughing and telling dirty jokes and eating and having a nice time. So if there is anything like that going on, Josh, keep up the good work and the life-saving and the laughter, and we'll all see you on the other side.
Captain O'Brien.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chaplain O'Brien. I'm with the 157th Mountain Infantry Battalion, the battalion that Josh was a part of. And I am the chaplain, so no dirty jokes. I apologize. But I just want to start by thanking you for the opportunity for just to speak on behalf of Josh's military family, and the opportunity just to be here as part of his military family. It truly is an honor to be here. As I was preparing for what I was going to say, I couldn't help but think of a quote that's often attributed to A.A. Milne, the author of Winnie the Pooh. And he says, it goes like this: "How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard." And as a new chaplain to the unit, I didn't have the honor of knowing Josh personally. But I was there when his platoon received the news. I can tell you that it is undeniable that Josh is someone who makes saying goodbye so hard. As I listened to the soldiers speak about him, I learned and got to know Josh through their stories. I learned that Josh was an exemplary soldier dedicated to his craft. His battle buddies spoke highly of his knowledge in the unit. They said that he was someone they would go to if they didn't know how to do something. And the commander of the entire battalion even said that Josh was being considered for the expert medic badge for his excellence as a soldier. But beyond this, Josh was a quality friend. And battle buddies shared stories of Josh and his humor, his wit, his ever positive attitude through even the most difficult situations. And I'm sure there's so many stories that I haven't heard from his fellow soldiers, stories that our soldiers may be thinking of right now. I'm sure you all have thoughts and stories about Josh. It's difficult to say goodbye to Josh, to lose Josh. He was a member of our team, a member of our family. And it's in moments like these that we realize how intertwined our lives truly are. That Josh had an impact on everyone in this room. Moving forward will be difficult. And more than ever, I'm reminded of how important it will be for us to come together. I want to encourage you to lean on each other and share stories about Josh. Model how normal and healthy it is to seek a counselor. Don't let these emotions stay inside. Because there will be times when you will need other people. There will be times when other people will need you. And it's only when we open up that we realize how much we need each other. Life is not easy. It's filled with storms. But together we can find the joy and rest that is just beyond the present storm. And I'd like to end with a psalm if I could. Psalm 71, 20 through 21 says this. Though you have made me see troubles, many and bitter, you will restore my life again. From the depths of the earth, you will again bring me up. You will increase my honor and comfort me once again. Thank you.
Jacob Rudin wrote, "When we are dead and people weep for us and grieve, let it be because we touched their lives with beauty and simplicity. Let it not be said that life was good to us, but rather that we were good to life." Josh was good to life. Born to Jen and Joel, December 4th, 2000, Josh was a happy child who loved uniforms, firemen, policemen, any uniform. And he began sleuthing through a wilderness program at a young age. After high school, his love of the outdoors led him to join a group that climbed the Cascade Mountains. His favorite hobbies were long walks and rucking. And in case you didn't know what rucking was, I didn't. I had to look it up. When Jen was talking about it, it's taking those long walks with a weighted backpack. That doesn't mean that the backpack was heavy. It means that they filled it with things like rocks and anything that was heavy along the way. Through the years, Josh and his brother Jordan were close. They were built-in playmates. And while he was capable of being a doofus, he was more likely to be a protector. The brothers shared a lot of inside jokes and enjoyed a mutual sense of humor. As a teen, when others were busy rebelling, Josh was a people pleaser, caring more about others than himself, becoming a master at alleviating tension. Uncle David and Sarah were so proud of the admirable man Josh was becoming and of the parents that Joel and Jen are. His cousins, Aviva and Ari, looked up to him and family gatherings gave him an opportunity to be with Aunt Jill and cousins Hannah and Cy, his grandmother Carol, and his uncle Joel. Uncle David said that Josh, the oldest of the cousins, was devoted to family and cared deeply for his grandmother Sarah. Josh had an incredible career for one so young. His choices were never about money, but about service to others. He joined the National Guard and became a combat medic. On his 19th birthday, he became a certified EMT. He was an ambulance driver and saved lives of both patients and colleagues. The Talmud records that one who saves a life saves a world. Josh humbly saved worlds. Josh and his mom had a special link. Jen said, "He always knew when I was sad or upset, sometimes before I did." He had a big, empathic heart, but he was willing to engage in the rivalry that you heard Joel describe about being a Navy man and considering and he was considering obtaining a foliage ghillie suit. Now I know who that joke was for. Sarah, his grandmother, looked forward to seeing Josh every month at National Guard meetings in Colorado Springs. And she told me that Josh planned to purchase a snowmobile, not for fun, but because he could use it as a rescue vehicle. Josh will be missed for his great smile, his easygoing ways, his representation of the next generation as the best of the last generation, and his movie quotes. Doc, a nickname that allowed Josh to flash his smile, has had a favorite charity since we first met to work towards his bar mitzvah, the Wounded Warrior Project, if you feel so moved to honor his memory. And even then, Josh was a person of sparse words. My blessing to him that day was that he pursue life with passion, a passion for tikkun olam, healing the world, and that he pursue finding peace in life. Josh, your presence will be missed. Al Mekomo Yavo V'Shalom. May you rest in peace. We share Bechi, the expression of grief and loss experienced by mourners, by Klal Yisrael, and by all these communities that have joined us and lives that Josh has touched. Please rise as you are able for the El Malay. God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the pure and holy to the soul of Joshua Levi, who has gone to his eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that he performed in the land of the living, and may his soul be bound up in the bond of life. May he rest in peace. El Malay Rachamim Shochem Bamaromim Amatzeh Menucha Nechona Al Kanfei HaShechina B'ma'alot Kedoshim U'Tahorim Kezohar Harakia Mazchirim Et Nishmat Yehoshua Levi Ben Yoel Yitzchak Shehalach Le'olamo V'avur shafo yitain tzedakah v'ad azkarat nishmato v'gan eden tehei menuchato Lachem Baal Harachamim Yastirahu B'Seitek Nafav La'olamim V'yitzror b'yitzror ha'chaim et nishmato Adonai unachalato v'yanuach v'shalom hamishkavo v'nomar Please be seated. God of compassion, grant healing to those who mourn as they remember times of celebration, times of difficulty, times of warmth, times of compassion, times of closeness and of love. Though the pain of mourning is deep, may love always live in their hearts and in their cherished moments. Thus will Josh's memory be recalled to light and to lighten lives every day. I ask that the family and anyone who is in a period of mourning, Shiva, the first 7 days, Shloshim, the first 30, or Shana, the first year, rise for Kaddish. It should be in your, is it in your booklets? Maybe it's not, sorry. Yitgadal, v'yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, v'alma divara chirute, v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon, uv'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv, v'meru, Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mivarach, L'olam ol'olmei almaya, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yithalal, Shmei d'kudusha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran be'alma, v'meru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru Amen. May God grant peace to all who mourn. May you find comfort and healing within this community, among Klal Yisrael, and among all the inhabitants of the world. Please be seated. Hamakom asserts that God is everywhere and everything, physical and spiritual, matter and energy. In the spiritual reality, nothing is lost, not the beloved one's purpose, nor their goodness, nor even their real existence. The passage of time cannot remove the memory, nor wipe away the pain. Consolation is not a natural process. At the end of life, the soul exists eternally, yet every soul returns to its own makom, its own unique place in the world. And that is why we ask God for comfort along the way. When will I be myself again? Some Tuesday, perhaps in the late afternoon, sitting quietly with a cup of tea and a cookie, or Wednesday, same time, or later. I will stir from a nap and see him. I'll pick up a phone and call. I'll hear his voice, unexpected advice, and maybe an argument. And you will not be frightened. And you will not be sad. And you will not be alone. Not alone at all. And your tears will warm you, but not today, and not tomorrow, and not tomorrow's tomorrow. But someday, some Tuesday, late in the afternoon, sitting quietly with a cup of tea and a cookie, and you'll notice that you're yourself again. Our community turns its thoughts from honoring the deceased to comforting the mourner, who transitions from aninut to avilut, as those who mourn begin their journey toward healing their spirits. We recite the words of comfort. Hamakom yenachem etchem b'toch hasha'ar, Avele Zion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. If you have memories to share with this family, please do so online, drop them a note, arrange for a visit. Josh's loss will be felt for a lifetime, and it will never be too late to share. I call upon Captain Ryan Betts to conduct the military presentation.
At this time, we'll proceed with the final military funeral honors. It is requested that if able, please stand covering your heart with your hand. If you are a veteran or currently serving in the United States military, it is appropriate to render a hand salute. At the completion of taps, please be seated. Sergeants, commence with funeral honors.
This concludes our service. The family appreciates everyone being here. There is a reception in the room behind the double doors. Please stay, please share your thoughts, share your stories. Thank you.